Now at 9, we'll see how Joplin residents are honoring National Kidney Month, plus aftermath from damaging storms across the Midwest, and
Hamas released a new ceasefire proposal on Friday that could see the remaining hostages returned home, but it's far from a done deal. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Anthony Saviello. Today, people in Joplin got into the St. Patrick's Day spirit one step at a time. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how the March of the Kidney lets people be festive while supporting a good cause.
People gathered at the North Park Mall in Joplin, but they were more than just mall walkers. They came to participate in the March of the Kidney, an annual event hosted by Freeman Health System.
The March of the Kidney is an event that we do to honor the patients that have passed from kidney disease, to celebrate those who are currently on dialysis, and to raise funds and awareness about kidney disease and dialysis.
March is National Kidney Month. According to the Center of Disease Control, more than 37 million Americans suffer from a chronic kidney disease. For participants at the march, the cause hits close to home.
My mother was on a kidney patient here about 10 years ago, and a very good friend of mine, Campy Benson, just recently passed away, who was on dialysis for the last 10 years. So it's in honor of him and my mother that I'm walking today.
Emily Gilbert donated a kidney to her close friend Caleb. She says raising awareness about kidney disease is important.
These sorts of events are important because some people don't really know about kidney disease. I think a lot of people need a lot of education, and once they know about it, it's better to spread awareness and help others.
And for people like Greg Dickey, who has been on dialysis for the past 7 years, the march also offers an opportunity to meet with people going through the same thing.
And it's nice to see people that's had transplants and stuff like that. It's very interesting to talk to them.
It's cathartic in a way. It's helpful for those who have maybe have people suffering or have lost to come together and to support and heal each other.
While the March of the Kidney may seem like it's just a 1-mile walk, to those who attend, it's so much more. Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
This was the 10th year for the March of the Kidney event. Proceeds from the march stay in the area and go towards kidney patients to help cover their treatment costs. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us for a first look at the weather.
Today was a pretty nice day. We got temperatures up to about 67, right on track for our normal March temperatures. We do start to cool down a little bit. Right now, still, everyone is in the 60s. Some of the areas reached in the 70, 71 range, so that was pretty nice. We had a good day today. Now, we are dry in the area with humidity levels lower than 35%, and that means that fire weather is a concern for the region, and it's going to continue on. We're going to have a few dry days, but temperatures do cool off, so they'll be more in the 50s to low 60s range for temperatures, not too warm, and it won't be too windy. And we have had a lot of rain, so these drought conditions are slowly getting better. And we've got more rain chances in the forecast. I'll have all the details for you up next.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Damaging storms and tornadoes swept through the Midwest this past week, leaving behind scenes of destruction. At least 3 people were killed, dozens more left injured. Whitney Wild brings us harrowing stories from survivors who lost everything in a matter of seconds.
She was screaming, "Please help me, please help me. The house is on top of me, please get me out."
Kaya Alleman says the frantic call from her mother came in around 8:15 Thursday night after an EF3 tornado ripped her mother's home from its foundation while she sheltered inside.
The house was over there and they got thrown across the street.
How do you feel knowing that she survived that?
I'm really surprised digging through this and looking where she was buried.
Alleman's mother and brother were found under a wall of the home with only minor injuries. Now Alleman and her siblings pick through the debris, still stunned. This is all that's left.
Oh, look, great-grandma's picture. They literally lost everything. So we're just trying to dig up any part of their life for them, to have anything, my dad's awards from the Army, clothes, anything that we could try to save for them.
Only yards away, Andrew Day was washing dishes inside a now obliterated Taco Bell when the tornado hit.
it just started shaking, and it blew me back about 15 feet from there to about right there in that debris. And I just held on to whatever I could grab a hold of.
Scenes like this stretch from Kentucky to Ohio after strong storms and tornadoes moved across the Midwest.
Oh my God, we need to leave.
Hail shattered windshields from Missouri to Illinois.
I've never seen anything like it.
To Indiana.
Look at it go. Oh my God, look at the hail.
First responders working night and day searching through the wreckage.
We don't know the extent of the damage to actually go through and subdivide every single one of those properties and do everything within our power to find out if there is anyone still within the confines of those collapsed buildings.
As Alleman looks at the piles of debris around her, mostly what she sees is a miracle.
I'm just thankful that they're alive, and I mean, some stuff can be replaced, but lives can't.
Velda City, a small municipality in St. Louis County, no longer has a police force as of 2 p.m. Friday. The Velda City Police Department made the announcement in a Facebook post, saying all officers have resigned due to internal issues with the city's mayor and board of aldermen. The department only had 3 officers patrolling the streets for the entire city for the past several months. Velda City Mayor Gwendolyn Buggs said in a statement that she had asked the city of Padgedale to provide emergency law enforcement for Velda City until the board of aldermen could come up with a more permanent solution. Higher Power Garage in Joplin is putting on classes to teach people on how to properly maintain their car. The class goes over different types of oil fluids your car uses, as well as parts of your engine you should be checking on a regular basis. Those who attended were able to interact with a certified mechanic and get a more in-depth look into the inner working of their car.
The reason why we do this is because we've seen a real problem with kids coming up and not really knowing how to maintain the car. They get taught how to put gas in it and how to drive it, but they really don't ever get taught how to check the oil or do maintenance schedules or anything like that.
These classes happen every month. They are free of charge. Higher Power Garage asks that you register ahead of time before attending. Dozens of Oklahomans marched in support of 16-year-old Owasso student Nex Benedict outside the Capitol Thursday afternoon. Nex was reportedly a target of bullying and, according to the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office, died by suicide. David Chasnov has more on the rally and those who attended.
Whose house? Our house! Whose house? Our house!
Nex's death was absolutely preventable. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's not enough leadership in this building behind me that's holding those leaders accountable.
Several Oklahomans calling out state leaders during a Nex Benedict rally Thursday afternoon.
Impeach Ryan! Impeach Ryan!
I got a message for Governor Stitt. I've got a message for Ryan Walters. We're here. We're not going anywhere.
Some students from class in SAS even staged a walkout with their assistant principal to support the 16-year-old.
Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter!
We deserve the right to be children in peace at school!
Chris Williams with the Diversity Center of Oklahoma says she attended the event to stand up as an adult and remind children they are not alone.
Nex's death, no matter how that came to be, is not okay, and so we have to fight for the justices of our community. Like I said, not only for our children, but for all of us.
Protect trans kids! Protect trans kids!
State Rep Maury Turner also made an appearance, getting emotional about the event having a great turnout.
There are so many communities that have been touched and deeply affected by Nex's death that are still doing this work, and it's nice to also understand that folks are still coming together in community.
They keep talking about a top 10 state. What do we see? Top 10 hate.
Later, Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball have split their series so far. We'll see who wins the tiebreaker in sports. At an abandoned hotel in southern Lebanon, some 60 displaced families are celebrating the Islamic holy month of Ramadan, far from their homes. More than 90,000 people have been displaced in southern Lebanon by the ongoing near-daily clashes that have occurred since Israel's war with Hamas. Israeli strikes have killed more than 300 people in Lebanon. most of them militants with Hezbollah and allied groups, but also including at least 40 civilians, while Hezbollah launches have killed at least 8 civilians and 11 soldiers in Israel. Germany airdropped 4 tons of humanitarian aid into Gaza Saturday. It marked the first time the country airdropped aid into the enclave. Germany's defense minister approved the airdrops on Wednesday. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command says U.S. forces, along with the Royal Jordanian Air Force, also conducted a combined humanitarian airdrop into northern Gaza Saturday. It included hundreds of bundles of food that was supplied by Jordan and dropped from a U.S. Air Force C-130 aircraft. Hamas has released details of a new ceasefire proposal that includes the release of hostages. And now the ball is in Israel's court. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
As the fighting rides on in the Gaza Strip, Israel's war cabinet is meeting to consider a new ceasefire proposal from Hamas. It's a 2-step plan. In the first phase, Hamas would release Israeli women, children, the elderly, and those with health issues in exchange for up to 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. After that, both sides would agree on a date for Israel's withdrawal from Gaza, followed by the release of the remaining hostages. It's not yet clear how Israel would respond, but it's unlikely they'd order a full stop to their offensive.
We are willing to pay a heavy price to bring back the hostages, but one thing we will not compromise, and that's our demand not to stop the war until Hamas is eradicated.
The new proposal was announced just one day after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer suggested Israel hold new elections, a direct shot at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Those comments prompting significant criticism from Israeli officials. Even Benny Gantz, Netanyahu's political rival, called Schumer's suggestion, quote, incorrect and unacceptable. The Biden administration now distancing itself from Schumer's remarks, saying he was speaking for himself, not the White House.
I'm sure that they fully understand that he speaks for himself. He's obviously someone we're in close contact with, but it's not a statement from the executive branch.
Meanwhile, the U.S. released the final draft of a UN resolution aimed at stopping the fighting in Gaza, but it's unclear when it will come up for a vote in the Security Council. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, President Biden meets with the Ireland Prime Minister ahead of St. Patrick's Day.
Well, it was a pretty nice day for us today. Some clouds here and there, but temperatures got up to about 67, so upper 60s, and some counties even got up to 70, 71 degrees. Now, moving into tonight, it's pretty cloudy. You can see that from this nice shot from Cornell Complex Arts and Entertainment Center. Pretty nice evening, though. Still not getting too cold until tomorrow night. Clouds across the region, but we're not going to see any kind of rain in the forecast until Wednesday night, and we can thank this low for us. It's cut off, so it's just going to be sitting over there in Arizona and Southern California for the next several days. So we're kind of at a stopping point for all the rain. We're going to see dry conditions for the next couple of days, which could cause some issues with the drought that we're experiencing, although we have gotten a lot of rain the last couple of weeks, and that's helped some of our counties in Cedar, St. Clair, and Dade. They are no longer in a drought condition, and we've got a lot of rain chances moving in next week and for the rest of the severe weather season. But for the next couple of days, low humidity values, 35% or lower across the region most days. So winds aren't too fast, but we are seeing winds about 20 miles per hour tomorrow and a little bit less, which could cause some issues with fire weather concerns. You might want to, keep that in mind for all of your St. Patrick's Day festivities. Now, the reason we're getting this dry weather and these, cooler temperatures not warming up too much is we're not really in a ridge or in a trough. We're stuck between these two low pressure zones. So one sitting over in Arizona and the other one is up in Canada. The one in Canada is not a cutoff low, so it is moving. All of this upper level flow is moving off to the east, but you can see that low out in California is just sitting there. It's going to keep rotating until it decides to join back in with the upper level flow, and you can see it start to do that, and here it is. By Tuesday night, it's completely joined back with the upper level flow, and that is when it's going to start to propagate towards us. which will be giving us all of those rain chances that we see next week. Tomorrow, your forecast is going to be pretty nice. Temperatures do only get up to about 57, but it will be sunny most of the day. Winds not too heavy, about 15, 20 miles per hour. Not too bad. It's going to be a nice St. Patrick's Day for everybody. However, the low will be down to 31 degrees, maybe a little bit less. So it could be chilly if you plan on being out late. You might want to bring a jacket. We'll get pretty cold. Monday, 51 degrees, but we warm back up Tuesday, 70 degrees. Wednesday, 69 degrees, and we have shower chances Wednesday night. And then you can see the remainder of the week, we're going to have on and off showers, maybe some thunderstorm chances in there, temperatures sticking in the mid-60s range.
Beautiful St. Patty's Day.
Yes.
Yeah. Make
a
sure
little
to wear
cooler.
Green. Gotta wear
yes.
green.
I will be wearing green.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always.
I should wear a green tie tomorrow, probably.
You should. Or someone will pinch you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lindsay. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Coming up, pressure in the White House.
The situation in Haiti is rapidly deteriorating, and pressure is building on the Biden administration to evacuate Americans still there. I'm Rich Edson in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
Hundreds of Mexicans gathered in Mexico City with bright blue yoga mats, sleeping masks, and travel pillows for a massive siesta on Friday. This nap-in commemorating World Sleep Day doubled as a protest advocating for sleep as a crucial aspect of health and wellness. With nearly half of Mexicans experiencing sleep troubles, this event sheds light on the importance of rest. People in Mexico were ranked as the world's most overworked according to a 2019 Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development report. After weeks of violence and chaos in Haiti, pressure is building on the Biden administration to evacuate Americans there. The State Department, however, says it does not have any current plans to do so. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson has more.
Another group of Marines arrived in Haiti this week to bolster security at the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince. The Pentagon says they'll relieve forces already stationed there, adding the Marines were not deployed to help Americans escape.
We have installed additional security personnel there, but that's all they're doing is just securing the embassy.
The State Department says it's heard from hundreds of American citizens who've registered with the department to receive more information about the situation in Haiti. State says it cannot provide a firm number of how many Americans are there. State officials say they're not actively planning an evacuation and cited previous travel warnings.
For 4 years, we have been telling Americans, do not go to Haiti. Do not travel there. It's not safe to do so.
Florida launched its own portal to help stranded Floridians. Governor Ron DeSantis says he's deploying more law enforcement officers to the coast in preparation for a potential wave of migrants fleeing to the U.S.
The message is the last thing you should want to do is get on some boat and think you're going to come through from any of these islands to get to the state of Florida.
And Republicans on Capitol Hill maintain there's some risk to the U.S.
How does this administration expect that the gang violence and cartel violence in Haiti and Mexico, respectively, will not spill over into American borders with this open border?
The Biden administration says it plans to send an additional $25 million in humanitarian assistance to Haiti. In Washington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
The presidential candidate from the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia cast his ballot. He is one of 3 challengers in the election against Putin. However, 2 independent candidates with anti-war platforms have been barred from running. Slutsky stated after he cast his ballot that he hopes military operations in Ukraine will end this year. Despite the voting, President Vladimir Putin is still expected to secure his presidency for another 6 years. Coming up, we take a look at how the migrant crisis is playing a part in the new measles outbreak. The Tampa River goes green to kick off St. Patrick's Day festivities across the city. The city dyed the Hillsborough River Saturday before their annual River-O Green Fest. This tradition dates back to 2012, when the city started turning the waters green for the Irish American holiday. Around 250 pounds of environmentally friendly powder dye is mixed off-site and then spread by boats into the river to change its color. The dye starts fading 2 to 3 days after the application. 30 more minutes of news, weather, sports coming your way. Coming up, Keltoy Winery is kicking off St. Patrick's Day with a weekend-long party. We'll take you there. The U.S. and Ireland are celebrating 100 years of diplomatic relations ahead of this St. Patrick's Day. The leaders of both countries continuing a long-standing tradition of visiting each other, but this year, the cloud of two wars loomed over talks. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has that story from New York.
President Biden and other leaders hosted an Irish delegation ahead of St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's typically a lighthearted occasion.
My grandfather Finney used to say, "May the hinge of our friendship never go rusty."
But this year, wars in Gaza and Ukraine were top of mind for the leaders.
We're standing together to support Ukraine in the face of Putin's onslaught, savagery.
Obviously keen to talk about the situation in Gaza as well. You'll know my view that we need to have a ceasefire as soon as possible to get food and medicine in, to get hostages out, and we need to talk about how we can make that happen and move towards a two-state solution.
The meeting comes a day after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called for new elections in Israel.
He made a good speech, and I think he expressed a serious concern, shared not only by him but by many Americans.
Both President Biden and Ireland's Prime Minister called on Congress to pass funding for Israel and Ukraine. House Speaker Mike Johnson still pushing for U.S. border reform, but agreeing the U.S. and Ireland need to stick together.
Our hearts are heavy in spite of the fun fellowship, because stability is being threatened in Europe and in the Middle East, and our allies and friends such as Israel and Taiwan continue to fight for their very right to exist.
Both sides are hopeful peace talks between Israel and Hamas could lead to a ceasefire in Gaza, as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has approved a military plan to move into the southern region of Rafah. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
One winery in Oronogo is helping people bring a little bit of Ireland to the four states this St. Patrick's Day. Keltoy Winery is an Irish winery that is throwing St. Patrick's Day parties this weekend to celebrate the holiday. The event features festive decorations, Irish food, and live musicians playing traditional Irish music. Organizers of the event say it's a great way to be able to share Irish culture.
It's a lot of fun. It's fun to see everybody dress up in their green. People dye their hair green, their beards green, and we have the same people that come every year, so it's kind of like a big family celebration too.
The St. Patrick's Day party will continue tomorrow at Keltoy Winery from 12 to 5 p.m. Mindful commuting just might be the trend to pull you out of the funk of your everyday commute. The hustle and bustle of a 9-to-5 work week takes a toll sometimes. Experts say the mental wellness practice teaches you how to take control of your daily commute through a variety of exercises. Practicing conscious breathing, paying attention to the sights and sounds around you, and being mindful of your thoughts. The goal? Promoting relaxation while coping with stress and even boosting productivity at work. Chicago is on high alert Friday. There have been several confirmed cases of measles among migrants. A team from the CDC is on site. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in the Windy City with the story.
At the turn of the century, measles was thought to be eradicated in the U.S. Now a couple of ambulances stand in front of a Chicago migrant shelter because the highly contagious disease came back in the chaos of an uncontrolled border. 12 new cases have been recorded in the Windy City, most in a warehouse-turned-migrant shelter in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood. 2 involve migrant students who have attended Chicago public schools. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson blames the Biden administration.
This is a really jacked up situation. The border, in and of itself, because of the failures of the federal government, has placed a tremendous amount of burden financially on the people of Chicago.
But one outspoken city alderman blames Johnson, citing the chaotic handling of the busloads of migrants arriving in Chicago.
This is just the beginning of what I think will be a long sojourn dealing with this, because the city refuses to deal with housing these migrants in a comprehensive way, leaving them in unsanitary, unhealthy, dirty living conditions in old warehouses and field houses.
Chicago public school students are required to be vaccinated against measles. New arrivals fall under an exemption for children in unstable housing. Of the 1,900 people living in the Pilsen shelter, most had vaccines or previous exposure. Teams from the CDC, the county and state health departments, as well as doctors from universities and hospitals are assisting with vaccinating about 900 migrants who now need to quarantine.
Measles is much more infectious and contagious than COVID-19. Measles can really be quite serious in a community with low vaccination rates.
Pregnant women and babies are not supposed to receive the measles vaccination, so the state of Illinois has moved close to 100 migrants to an unnamed hotel to quarantine. In Chicago, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Still ahead, we meet a new four-legged staff member at the Children's Hospital in Arizona.
It was a pretty warm Saturday for us. We saw the sun a lot today. Continuing that streak tomorrow, although right now it's pretty cloudy. Take a look from our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Center camera. Cloudy night ahead. We will see some clouds in the area early tomorrow morning. They're going to stick around, but we don't have any rain in the forecast until Wednesday night. So your St. Patrick's Day will be clear. We can thank this cutoff low that's out in California and Arizona. What a cutoff low does is it just kind of sits there. It's going to rotate over the same spot because it is cut off from the upper level flow. So it's not moving anywhere. So we're seeing kind of a static little pausing period for us for the weather. We're not going to see anything come in until Wednesday night. We will get a lot of rain chances, and we've had a lot of rain chances also in the past couple of weeks. So St. Clair, Cedar, Dade counties up here, they are clear from any drought conditions, but the rest of us do still have some ways to go. But we do have a lot of rain chances moving in next week and for this severe weather season. So hopefully most of the counties will be clear at least by the end of this season. For the next couple of days though, we are pretty low with humidity values, 40% or lower, and if you get lower than 35%, it's pretty dry. The fuels are dry, so it's easy to spark a fire. Now, winds aren't going to be too fast, but tomorrow around mid-afternoon, we will see winds about 20 miles per hour, maybe a little bit faster. So you could exercise a little bit of caution since we will stay dry for the next couple of days. Temperatures aren't getting too warm though, which is a good thing, and winds aren't too fast. But with those dry fuels, it could cause some fire weather concern. Now, this upper level map is showing two low pressure zones, one over in Arizona and one up in Canada. That one is not a cutoff low, so it's going to continue to move, and we're getting kind of the tail end of that, but we're still stuck between these two pressure zones. Now, until the low pressure zone in Arizona joins back up with the upper level flow, it's not going to continue to move or propagate towards our area. But by Tuesday night, you can see it's already connected back, and that's when it's going to start to move, and we're going to get all those rain chances on Wednesday and after that. But your forecast for St. Patrick's Day is looking good. Sunny skies for most of the day. Temperatures do only get up to about 57 degrees, so it may be a little bit chilly, and our overnight low will only be 31 degrees, maybe a little bit less. So it's going to be a pretty cold evening, so if you plan on going out, you might want to be prepared for that. But after that, Tuesday we start to warm up, 70 degrees. Wednesday night we'll have some shower chances pretty late. Maybe some thunderstorm chances on Thursday, but the rest of the week kind of scattered shower chances for the next week and weekend.
Need it. Need those rains.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Do you dress your dogs up for St. Patrick's Day?
No, but I did for Christmas.
I like it. I like it. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up in sports, Pitt State men's basketball begins the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Plus, Missouri Southern and Pitt State square off on the baseball diamond. Brock Baldridge has the highlights and more.
The Missouri Southern Lions and the Pittsburgh State Gorillas are two of the top four teams in the MIAA baseball standings. Now, Missouri Southern won the series opener on Friday, and the two teams meet again on Saturday. Beautiful day for baseball in Pittsburgh as the Pitt State Gorillas host their rivals Missouri Southern. We pick things up in the top of the fifth inning. Pitt State leads 3-1. Nate Miskowski with the bases loaded goes opposite field, and that ball rolls all the way to the wall out there. Ethan Clark and Tragan Parker coming to score. The base is clearing, RBI double, and Missouri Southern takes a 4-3 lead. The bottom of the fifth now, same score. Blake Mosley gives this ball a ride to deep right field. And that ball is going to bounce off the wall there as the outfielders scramble for it. Joe Hamilton will round third and come in to score easily. It's an RBI triple. Pitt State ties the game 4-4. Bottom of the seventh now, tied up at 4. Nixon Brandon doesn't get all of it, but just enough of it to find some turf out there in shallow right field. Mosley will dive in safely at home plate, and the Gorillas take a 5-4 lead. Bottom of the ninth now, runner on first, last chance for the Lions, and Cole Askew slams the door shut. And Pitt State splits the series as the Gorillas defeat Missouri Southern 5-4. The series finale is scheduled for tomorrow at noon. Over to softball now as the Pitt State softball team continues to dominate day in and day out. The Gorillas on both of their games this afternoon, they sweep Augustana, make it 18 straight wins for the Pitt State softball team. Meanwhile, Missouri Southern also at home for a doubleheader this afternoon. The Lions win the first game 3-2, and then they win the second game 1-0 off of a walk-off. And the Lions face Rogers State on the road next weekend. Well, the Pitt State men's basketball team hasn't played in an NCAA Division II game since 2015. And tonight, the Gorillas hit the floor for more postseason basketball. The Gorillas take on Minnesota State Moorhead tonight, and it was a rough night as Moorhead defeats Pitt State 73-55. The season comes to an end for the men's basketball team as they finish the year 21-11. However, that's their best record to end the year since 2005. In junior college men's basketball, the NEO Golden Norsemen are in the NJCAA Regional II Championship game. And the Norse lose a really close, tight game, 73-71 in the hands of Connors State. NEO still has a chance to make the final tournament, national tournament, I should say, an at-large bid, but we'll just have to wait and see for Selection Sunday. Over to the Big 12 Men's Championship game in Kansas City, Iowa State versus #1 Houston. Taman Lipsey, how about that move? Knocks down the 3. Cyclones lead by 9. Second half now, Iowa State up by 14. Hassan Ward creates contact, count the bucket and the foul. ISU leads by 17. Still in the second half, the kid from Ames, Lipsey, sneaks by the defense there for the easy 2 points. And Hilton South is fired up there in Kansas City. Later in the half, Lipsey again passes it down deep to Hassan Ward, and look out below. Big man there for the slam. And what are you going to do? ISU Cyclones win the Big 12 championship in a blowout 69-41. Well, that's your look for sports. We're back after this.
A children's hospital in Arizona is adding a new 4-legged member to their team to help with patients. The 2-year-old poodle Gumby will be helping the staff spread comfort to everyone. Fox's Dominique Newland takes us there to meet him.
They say a dog is a man's best friend, but at Banner Thunderbird Medical Center in Glendale, this dog is everyone's. Gumpy, a 2-year-old white poodle, is providing a sense of comfort to patients in the hospital, acting as their new facility dog.
Gumpy is going to follow me while I'm doing my job, and what's awesome is not only do the kids get to interact with Gumby, who is magical and incredible and helps everybody to calm down, I and Gabby are both trained psychosocial professionals. So when those difficult topics do come up, we're trained in how to handle it and help kids work through some of those issues.
At the hospital for 40 hours a week, Gumpy gives hugs, a sense of motivation, and some distraction to patients undergoing a tough time. While certified child life specialists Lauren and Gabby educate kids on their treatment, Gumpy is bringing the smiles and love to patients.
Dogs are incredible creatures. They're going to help our patients reach clinical milestones while they're here. And they are able to support not just the patients, but families as well. They bring a sense of calmness to the room, and they bring joy, and they are the face to look forward to.
The pup is the first facility dog for Banner Children's at Thunderbird and will spend time between Lauren and Gabby visiting areas like the outpatient oncology clinic. Not only adding snuggles and joy to patients, but to the staff as well.
NASA and Google Earth are teaming up with an effort to save endangered tigers in the wild. Habitat loss remains a constant threat for tigers, and their population continues to decline. Conservationists have teamed up with NASA and European Space Agency and Google Earth to create a new real-time monitoring system for tiger habitats. Researchers say this method of habitat modeling creates a much more dynamic map that will provide vital information. Researchers also estimate that this technology could allow tiger populations to increase by 50%. Up next, the San Diego Zoo announces the name of its new antelope calf. A tiny, wide-eyed African antelope is wiggling its nose at the San Diego Zoo. The adorable baby calf has been named Abiba. Caretakers say Abiba is a pretty active girl, as she always walking around with her parents. Abiba is a member of a species of antelope that weigh only 6 to 13 pounds as adults and have long, flexible snouts. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of the newest addition to the Whitsunday Zoo in England. From all of us here at KOAN, have a great night.